Michelle BRODNAX, and today I have a very special guest. Somebody I just adore you, just all over the world. Sandra Race with the Decorating and Staging Academy, also known as the DSA. How are you?
I am doing great. The only bummer besides where we are in the world right now is my do list is not getting shorter. Somehow, I don't know, with all this time to think and come up with projects, it's like, I think it's longer. So I'm doing good. I'm actually in Scottsdale right now, and we are 80 degrees.
Gosh, great.
I know, it's kind of nice. But yeah, so everybody is doing good in my circle, and I love the fact that we get to have these face-to-face webinars, so we kind of feel like we're hanging out together, and
For sure. So I want to welcome everybody to the webinar. This is Newbie related. So what we're going to do, normally we have a PowerPoint presentation. And I say normally, this is why we were checking technology, because my upload button's grayed out. I keep clicking it and it won't let me upload anything. So normally we would have a screen that had the actual question on it. Unfortunately, technology's broke today and their tech support is not responding to me. So I get to yell at people later today. What choice?
And she has done it, everybody. Which, Shell, isn't this great though when you think about it? And for all the newbies on here, we've been in business a long time and we still have these unexpected hiccups happen. So
there are some days when I get on something like this, and it's like, okay, wait a minute, Shell. You're a professional speaker and your technology's bunk.
It's like, I know I was at a conference one time in Chicago, and you just get very particular about loaning out your laptop. You want to make sure everything's perfect. Well, because we wanted to be so nice, and we had loaned out our laptop. I was with Bobby McGinnis on this presentation, and Bobby is amazing. She is great, but it's not like, stand up and punt kind of thing.
Right.
So when we realized we had this problem, she's like, you just go talk. I'm like, oh. So FYI, here's another pointer for you guys. The only way we could get our PowerPoint to show was to show the notes. Well, I am a horrible speller, but I know, oh my gosh, I look like an idiot. So it was a very good lesson. So I would like to help you avoid that. So if you do make notes, make sure you spell them correctly.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, let's get started. So our goal here today is we usually take about 20 really great questions. We ask you to submit questions ahead of time. Some do, some don't. Sometimes we don't have enough to fill it, and we just fill in with other questions that have been asked in the past that were pretty popular and are pretty universal. So our goal here is to be able to help you. So as we're going along, when we talk about a question, if you have a question about what it is that we're talking about, throw it in that chat box, and we're monitoring the chat box off to the side, and we will answer your question. And then of course at the end, if you have a question that we haven't covered, then it's a free for all. Just throw them all in there and we will get those banged out as quickly as we can. So are you ready, Sandra? We're going to get going.
I'm ready.
Okay. So the first question is, what is the benefit of having your own furniture versus renting? And second part, what would you recommend to someone just starting in the business to use as staging furniture and decor, rental or invest in the inventory? So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of renting your own furniture or buying it. So I'll start. Renting, you're giving money to another company, putting money out. Even though you've collected a little money in from your staging project and you're charging them, and that's probably a wash, and you're getting that paid. Think about it this way: if you owned the inventory, that check would be coming to you, coming into your company. Now, things you have to consider is, number one, you have to have a place to store the inventory. So this means getting a warehouse, or most people start out in their home until their loved one kicks them out of the home with so much inventory, or you move into the garage and then someone else kicks you out of the garage, and then you move to a storage unit, and then you end up with 3 or 4 storage units, which ends up being pretty costly. And then you quickly figure out, hey, maybe you should get a warehouse. And then you go in and get a warehouse, and you get a 2,500 square foot one. And then day 30 after you've moved in and you're comfortable, you're like, oh, we should have gone for 5. And then if you moved into a 5 one from the beginning and you get in 30 days later, you're like, we should have done 10. So it's one of those things that you really need to just kind of plan out your strategy. How big do you want your business to be? What can your business support as far as the rent is concerned on a commercial building? Or do you want to buy a building? If you have the funds to be able to buy your own warehouse, that makes your business worth something.
Yes.
You have the property to be able to sell with it later on down the line when you want an exit strategy. So there's pros and cons to everything. You know, the great thing about, I guess, when you rent, you pay the fee. Movers are going to come and move it in for you. So you don't have to worry about your accessories and decor. They'll stick it wherever it is that you want it. But it's just one of those things. It's kind of about growth and scaling your business. What do you think, Sandra?
Well, I am glad I am the guest today because I have kind of done a little bit of it all.
Yeah.
So I would be curious too. So if you guys will put in the chat, do you do just staging or do you do staging and decorating? So this is what my thought was. And it's all about your business, guys. And it's all about what you want to do. I mean, what hat do you want to wear? I mean, I teach a seasonal decorating class. And I don't decorate other people's houses for the holidays because I'm too busy working my staging and decorating business. I did for a little while. So even though there's been a shift, so kind of to your own self be true. If this feels like you're going to have a panic attack, then you need to sit back and say, okay, maybe I don't have the stomach for this. So I really like for you to line up. Okay, I'm looking to see if anybody responded. You need to line up how much time you have. So because I started out dual staging and decorating, and my business shifted. So I would do, let's say, 70 staging one month and 30 decorating, and then it might shift the next. What was nice is it was always work. So this is kind of what I did. I looked at myself and I thought, okay, how much am I going to spend on that warehouse? Putting the numbers to paper, you're going to know, are you renting, are you putting enough inventory in homes, or do you have that demand to require that? So my first business, I've moved like 4 times. So you can do this, newbies. And I didn't know anybody every time I moved. So I kind of looked at it like this. I was doing a lot of occupied. So what I was requiring was artwork, accessories, and those kind of things. So that was an easy inventory. Like Shell was saying, my garage was the warehouse until my husband kicked me out. And then, yes, I had a storage unit, but I kind of shifted, guys. So when I moved to Park City, I had a lot of second homeowners, and people were offering more times than not, I want your furniture. So I tried something different. So I said, okay, since I have this decorating also, I made it like, okay, I can meet every need you had, whether it's occupied or vacant, but you have to buy what I'm putting in there. So some of my favorite resources, and when you look at price point, Coaster has some great price point. If you find a good sofa, you can buy it in very good neutral colors. You don't have to change the shape every time, because if you make those smart decisions of making them transitional. I know Michelle Mintz Michelle and Todd have amazing warehouses, guys. I do not have big warehouses like that and multiple ones. But last year I did $60 million in listings without anything but a few lamps that I purchased. And that way, because artwork, let's face it, is hard to find large scale artwork. So I encourage you as a newbie, yes, Shell is absolutely right. You're going to make more if you have your own sofa and you get to charge rent. But there's ways for you to even calculate, I'm going to buy enough to do, let's say, 2 houses. And how quickly can you pay for that furniture? You want to pay for it in your first placement. So make sure you have done your homework, and your area is going to make a big difference. What you can charge. I mean, in all the places, from Florida to Utah to Arizona, I mean, you want to make sure that you are covering what you need. Because, I mean, Shell and I have talked about this before too. I met a girl and she was a newbie, and we were chit-chatting. At the time, I didn't know how new. And she goes, oh, I just got $250,000 worth of inventory. I'm so excited.
Wow.
I'm like, good for you. I am like, wow. And I said, well, gosh, how many clients? Because like this question, you want to make sure it lines up. I said, how many clients have you had to now, in my mind, think, okay, for her to justify 250,000? She goes, I haven't had one yet. I'm having my panic attack for her.
For her, right?
Please. So yeah, so I mean, yes, you're going to make more on that sofa when you purchase it and you place it in homes. You can easily go let them sign the rental agreement. And if you're charging for your time, that's clear and easy money. Or you can make them buy it and you still get that markup. So you still want to be able to have access to wholesale. And that's why I am so happy that RESA has this buying group.
Yeah.
Guys, really, when you're doing your numbers, calculate that. You've bought a wholesale sofa and you have done it with the off the backbone, so to speak, off the back of this big group. And that's huge. I've been in business for years and you can still get some better wholesale pricing on these buying groups. So I really encourage you to check that out because you're leaving so much money on the table, whether you're making your client buy it, which I do, or you are renting it to them and it's just turning more over.
Yep. I love it. I love it. All right, move on. Next question. So, I forgot to give my disclaimer at the beginning of this. So here's my little disclaimer. On occasion, when we have a question, we might say something to kind of twist the question around to make the way that you've asked the question is kind of an indicator of a little bit about where your mindset is. So sometimes, myself in particular, may word it back to you in a way that'll make your mind just flip and I'm doing it to shock you. I'm actually a Tony Robbins strategic intervention coach. So I learned this from his program. And you know how Tony Robbins always out there and he says something that just shocks you and you're just like, bam, and you're like, whoa, what did he do to me? I try to do the same thing. So this is probably one of those questions. So
I can hardly wait.
Don't mistake my directness for rudeness. I'm just saying it how it is. So here's the question. How do you turn consultations into full stages?
Oh, let me go first.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the thing. If you have that solid education and you are coming through with that mindset of you are the professional, you're not worried about hurting their feelings with the message. Your delivery is where you can screw it up. Let's be honest. I mean, you can tell them that little Junior needs to come off the wall and all his trophies in a very professional way. For instance, you know, my homeowner's always married too. You know, Mary, I am over here reading what, you know, little Junior won, and I have missed this gorgeous view. And I'm afraid, you know, somebody might touch them, grab them. So there's ways to deliver it. So you go into every staging, giving all your expertise, all your knowledge, and you're not trying to hold back. Because I have heard somebody say, I don't want to tell them everything because I want them to call me back. Okay, do not do that. Because first of all, they're paying you, they're trusting you, and your reputation is based on what you're sharing with them. So you're not going to get every job, but if you go in there giving sound advice, not expecting to cheat them with your knowledge, it is amazing. They're going to be so addicted to you. Like I had one client and she's like, I can't make a decision without you. Because, I mean, whatever it might be. So, and you make it just a piece of the job. If you've told them to paint, you know, I will select the color I want them to paint it. I will give them recommendations of who the painters I like and who I can vouch have insurance, and I know that they are going to represent me well as a recommendation. But guys, if all they say to you, gosh, Sandra, I really appreciate you coming. You gave us some great points. I really just think I need you to arrange the furniture. And they may, you've done a good job giving them the information. And then y'all, I'm telling you, they're going to call you when they go to and sell the next house, or they're going to call you when they need advice on placement. And you have that good foundation of knowledge about how to place a room. I mean, we always say it's different for decorating as it is staging, but now they know, like, and trust you because you've given it to them. So you want the job, and you want that by giving them sound advice in the consultation. I literally make my consultations so prioritized, like Mary, you have to do it. You got to trust me. I can give you, this is one tip for you guys too. I print out RESA's stats in a cute little binder in my staging bag when I go there. And I go, listen, you can take my word for it. And the agent's already probably said, trust what she says. But here's some national statistics. I've given them so much to trust what I suggest. So A is you have to do it. And this is why it's going to help us showcase the view, the square footage, vertical, horizontal, and all these amazing architectural details. If you have, let's say they don't have an architectural, anything that wows you, that's where, as a professional stager, you're going to say, Mary, we really need to help their eyes track to this gorgeous view. I'm going to bring in artwork that matches the colors that we already have in this space, because now their eye will go up, around, and to the view. So then she's going to say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to pick out that piece of art. So now you get that ability to go pull from your inventory, or you can go shopping.
Yep, absolutely. So, I love it. So I have a similar comment, but my big comment is, why would you want to? Why would you want to?
I know.
So think of it like this. Consultations, pretty pure profit margin, right? Zero overhead.
Love it.
Don't go anywhere. I got a text message. I don't even know if I can. I'll probably just read it to y'all. Got a text message from a friend that up in Canada. I've done more consultations with COVID in a week than I ever have done, and from my sofa. Seriously, sign me up. I'm all over this new insanely profitable business. And swear word, not going to repeat it. Watch the money get deposited. So there we go.
I love it. In fact, I had a student call me one time and she said, Sandra, I think I'm doing something wrong. And I go, okay, let's talk it through. Let's role play. I'm all ready. And she goes, I went on 4 consultations and I did not get a job.
Great.
I go, what are we complaining about? I said, how much did you make on the consultation? Times 4. I'm like, why did you want to sweat if you don't have to?
Exactly. Exactly. In addition, I actually had a coaching client similar to the gal that you referenced but mine said, I 80, no, what was it? She said, different circumstance. Go back to the consultation of why would you want to? I had somebody call me and say, talk about the consultations and how it is that, she was holding back. And I was like, she's like, and then nobody calls me. I can't turn a consultation into a full stage. Well, tell me about your process. Well, I go in there and, I don't tell them everything that they need to do. And I'm like, so you're ripping them off? And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, let's think about this. Not trying to hurt your feelings, but here's a little education for you. Mary and Paul hire you, Susie Stager, and they pay you their hard-earned good money. Mm-hmm. They give it to you. And they're trusting that you're going to come in and tell them what they need to do in order to prepare their house for sale. And then you don't tell them what you were hired to do. You held back because you're wanting something bigger. Why would they give you more money when they were let down from the initial consultation? So I say flood them. Give them every single thing they need to do. Prioritize it. Make it look amazing. Have a binder, a little folder like Sandra said. Put stats in there. Write your blog articles. Have them printed up in very nice paper. Put a few things in there. Tips. We have a consumer guide for real estate staging. Mm-hmm. There's moving tips in there. We're going to be releasing a new one soon. Damn, COVID-19 is putting me behind schedule.
To-do list.
I know. Put that in your binder and give it to them. So think about that. Give them everything it is that they need on a consult. And if you don't turn it to a full stage, who cares? MoveOn.com. You got paid.
Jill, just to add to that too, because that is a good question. One of the things is I learned, I did one of my first staging and I'm making, notes. I do not have my clients write the notes. I like to walk through by myself first. I will say, Mary, you and Bill just, do whatever. I said, I'm going to walk through as a potential buyer. I like doing that. I kind of switch hats. So I heard a client say one time, oh my gosh, she's writing down a lot of stuff. Like they were so nervous. And it kind of reinforced that find a common ground. Yeah. I mean, I might say something like, oh my gosh, guys, understand, if I were to put my house on the market, I would be doing these same things. I'd have to take down my kids' pictures. I'd have to organize my closet so that I had a third open space. Please understand, my house isn't staging ready right this minute either. So you can almost feel them breathe. So find whatever the common ground is. It the dog, the kids, the relate to the mess, whatever it might be. So that puts their mind at ease so that they can hear.
Yeah, you got to connect with them on that human level. Absolutely. Okay, next question. What advice do you have to obtain your first client? Well, that's a loaded question. So there's so many ways. So I'll tell you a quick story. Sandra, you remember Kathy?
Yeah.
So Kathy was my best friend who passed away in 2015. And I'm a networker. So I'm all about the networking. So for me, if I was going to start a new business and it was something where you had clubs or groups or associations to go to, bam, that's where I'm going to set myself. I'm going to set myself there. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to become someone. I'm going to get into leadership. I'm going to teach. I'm going to be visible. I'm going to be everywhere. The thing is, if you want to get business from people, you need to party where they party. So Women's Council of Realtors, your local association of realtors, both of those, they'll have, during the month, they have a broker's open, a tour that you can go to. They usually have marketing meetings with a speaker. Once a year, they'll probably have a big fundraiser. A lot of them that have a crab feed. They might have a fashion show, anything along those lines. I would be involved. That's how I do it. However, my girlfriend, Kathy, was like, yeah, I went to Women's Council. It didn't work out for me. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. RESA was founded off the basis of the Women's Council of Realtors. How could that not work for you? How many times did you go? And she's like, twice. Okay. Well, here's the thing. If you dip your toe in, you only get so much water. When you jump in, you're swimming in it. See what I mean? It's like you just got to go and kind of do it. But for some people like Kathy, it's a square peg, round hole situation. So here's the thing. I get it. Not all people can walk into a room and just walk up to people and chat. I have that gift or a curse because I can be probably annoying to somebody when I walk up. Hey, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you sitting over here by yourself? Let's talk. Do you want to be my friend? You just want to You got to have what it is that it is for you. So if the networking aspect doesn't work for you, here's one thing that I want you to consider. We've all been on Facebook, and I know you see all those ads on Facebook. Join me for my master class, and I'm such and such, and I'm going to tell you about XYZ. You don't know them. Chances are, with as many people doing it, might be their first time. They might not even have a first client yet. You have no real idea how much business that person is doing. When you hit click and you pay your $49 for your PDF download and for a 45-minute webinar, you have no idea. Well, neither does somebody in person. So when you have a beautiful website, you've done your website and it's great. You've got your education. So you're confident in what it is that you're doing, that you love what it is that you're doing, and you're passionate about what you're doing. When you go out and you are going to have to meet some people at some point. You might not want to go full immersion into the networking, but you are going to have to talk to people. Once you do that and you start getting phone calls and you start doing the bids, they're going to come because they don't know. So it's your mindset. If you go into it thinking I'm getting my first client, there's something about the mindset and the universe just kind of separates you from that. So accept that they don't know that this is your first one. And well, here's the big thing. A lot of stagers will go up to people and they tell them, they advertise them with that. And it's like, I don't get that. Why are we advertising that you look green? You don't want to do that. You want to go in like you know everything under the sun, right? So you walk in and you be you and you're dynamic and you've got your personality, let it shine through, yip yap at them all you want, connect with them on a human level, and you'll likely get that first client, but they don't need to know that you were the first client. And my advice, I know a lot of people say, oh, I'll go in and do a free staging for you. So again, they're advertising that they're new and green. I don't recommend that you do that because you're waving a giant flag. I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have my self-worth. I'm willing to give it away for free.
Right. My theory is if I cross the threshold, I'm on. Right. And I mean, really and truly. And so I love what you said is just putting yourself out there. I don't have problems either, but like I said, if I've started my business over 4 times and all of these times I didn't know a soul, usually the real estate agent that we found off the internet, or something. But what I did is I went to any and everything that I was invited to. So, for instance, when I moved to Park City, our real estate agent decided that she would start a Women Who Wine group. And they would have some little topic. So now I'm not over there going, oh, let me speak. Because I don't know. I just thought it would be I want them to ask me too. So, and it was so new, and I needed to see what the template was going to be, so to speak, what they were going to follow. But every time I went to Women Who Wine, I got a client. And part of it is, can you tell what you do while you're balancing a wine glass, holding the appetizer plate, and do it with such enthusiasm that they think about you, and you want them to say, oh my gosh, I can tell you love your job. I really do. I mean, so I tell everybody, especially if you're new, stand in front of a mirror and can you say what you do? Or they say, how'd you get into this? Oh my gosh, let me tell you, if I do any freebie, these are my criteria for freebie, and it's never with a client. It's for a charity. I love pay it forward opportunities.
Yeah.
In fact, I think there is on the DSA website, there's a little webinar on kind of what I did and how I got into pay it forward event. So once a year, I would do something, open my home up. That's what I did in the beginning. And we had a charity, and every square inch of my home was somebody selling something. Because guys, I don't know about you, but I mean, my friends are selling Rodan and Fields and, swear from Tupperware to, Pampered Chef. So I did not want to be labeled as, oh gosh, Sandra's having another party for one of her friends. So if I can do a pay it forward opportunity, of course, you're going to make sure your house is staged and look amazing. That's one thing. I went to any and everything I was invited to. I tried to connect with my real estate agents, but it's so important that you can tell your story quickly, effectively, and just be excited about it. I've moved so many times, I really kind of realized the importance of staging, but I got education, and that's key too. And I would say to my agents in the beginning, when you're recommending a stager to come into your home, make sure you let them know it's a certified stager. Like Shell said, you don't want to just go put your money down somewhere that it doesn't count, because you are banking on that certification also giving you knowledge and the credibility to the public.
Exactly. You got it. All right. This is a super quick question. This is super easy. Is it standard practice that all stagers are paid after property has settled or paid 50% up front? Here's the deal, people. I'm going to save you a lot of time and a lot of heartache right here. So dig in, lean in, and listen to me. Do not leave your house until you have been paid in full. Here's why. Any chance, every single time that you broker a deal and you do your job first without getting paid, you have automatically put yourself in a position to chase money.
Right.
Automatic. So here's what you do. I'd be happy to get you on the schedule. I have Thursday at 10 a.m., Friday at 10 a.m., or Monday at 9:30. Which would you like? And what credit card would you like to set on?
And that's a good point right there, Shell. Make sure that you can make it easy to get paid. Make sure you can accept credit cards. I mean, I can't tell you, when I got QuickBooks on my phone or your iPad, I have now tacked on another hour, or I now have brought in another, I don't know, tree or whatever. I'm like, oh, hold just a sec. Let me just adjust the invoice. And I'm doing it on my phone, emailing it to them. Therefore, if they're writing a check or paying with credit card, we have the new balance and I don't have to get home. That's where you start working for less.
Yep.
Whatever you're charging, if you have to go home, touch it again, send it to them, wait, monitor. And when you start getting assistance and you're paying somebody to do that, that's another kind of aha moment. Oh my gosh, I had to pay my assistant to call and remind them to pay for their bill. So
yeah, avoid it. Just avoid it. And the other thing is, you can always take a 50% deposit upon scheduling, and then 50% due 7 days before your stage date. Now, if you're scheduling it and it's all going to take place within that week, then you get it up front. But the bottom line is, you don't drive out of your driveway without that final payment, because again, Anything left on the table, it puts you in a position of that you may have to, and you don't ever want to. So next question, is it absolutely necessary to have business insurance? If so, what kind? Oh my God. Oh, sweet.
Lean forward again, please.
Can I tell you, some people lean in. Let me tell you this.
Oh my God.
Do not ever walk into somebody's home without being insured. Here's why. Picture this. You go into an occupied staging because, you're new. You're just getting started. You're just going to start out small. You don't want to go all huge on everybody yet. That's great. You walk in. There's a baby grand piano. Isn't that lovely? So beautiful. But I just need to move it and pivot it a little bit this way so I can put this stool over here. And you pivot and you send it flying through their plate glass window. What are you going to do? You're going to be out of business. You're going to be broke. You're going to be crying. And you got no insurance, so they know you're a newbie, and then they're going to tell 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on, and your name is mud. So this is a true story. This happened. Actually, know the people it happened to, but I'm not going to say who it was, but they were insured.
Was not me.
Was not you. Could you imagine if you just weren't insured and you had to pay for that? So here's some policies that I want you to consider. Villanova Insurance Partners. They used to be Penn X Insurance, somebody that RESA has worked with for well over a decade. Judy Phobes is the broker. She's written more staging policies than anybody on the planet. She's exclusive to RESA. Thousands and thousands and thousands over the year. In fact, it's because of the relationship between RESA and Judy and her company that stagers even have insurance, because way back in the day, Sandra, I know you remember this, early 2000s, and staging was just starting to get going as a business. And I know you were doing decorating and a lot of redesign at the time and interior design. And we started to staging. They're like, what is that? We don't know. We don't have a category for that. Well, it's because of Judy and all everybody pooling our resources together through a trade association that we have insurance. So number 1, Villanova, that's where you're going to get your general liability insurance. It's just going to cover things it is that you do. It will also cover your inventory. But here's the kicker. Listen to this. Lean in. Imagine this. You go and you're going to stage a home, and you put, I don't know, $18,000 worth of furniture into a property. And great, it sells in 7 days. They accept an escrow. And on day 17, they have a flood. What do? Who's going to pay for that inventory? So here's the thing. Why should your insurance policy have to cover a loss of, let's just use $18,000 for the sake of the example, cover $18,000 worth of loss because somebody else had a flood? That property was out of your care, custody, and control. So I know many of you, I mean, gosh, please tell me everybody's got a contractor. We're really going to lean in. Your contract would say that
we're going to be laying on the laptop in a minute.
People. Your contract should always say that they're responsible, but sometimes a homeowner will say, wait a minute, well, I'm not going to be responsible. That's your insurance. Why would I cover your insurance? Okay, great. That's fine. You have insurance. Just put me down as an additional insured on your rider and send me a copy of that. They're going to call their insurance company, and their insurance company is going to tell them, we're not going to cover someone else's property in your house. And especially while it's vacant. And while you're at it, did you know that if your house is left vacant for more than 30 to 60 or 30 or 60 days, depending on your policy, that your insurance company is not likely to cover anything on the inside of that house anyway, because if it's vacant and nobody's living in there, you can have a toilet leak bust open and flood your house and cost $40,000 worth of damage. True story. It was mine. So the moral of this is that you want to get the SRM policy. It's called Staging Risk Management. How this works is that there's 3 policy levels that you can get just right out the gate. You can get coverage up to $10,000, up to $20,000, or up to $30,000. The pricing, I believe, is $180, $250, and then $300. It's very, very simple. So you just word it to your clients, and actually SRM policy, they have some language that you could add to your contract. And basically it says this: homeowner's responsible for your things. Homeowner says they don't want it, they get the rider. If they get a rider, great. You don't need it. You're covered. Then on your contract, you can say they elect to accept the SRM policy at X fee. Now, you can't mark up the policy because you're not an insurance person, so that's not legal to do that. But you just put it in for the exact cost. They sign off of it, and it's added in because they don't want their insurance to take a hit either. And Here's the thing. Now, in my situation, the flood actually did not damage any of the furniture. So we didn't have to use the policy. But let's pretend I didn't take that policy, and let's pretend it did damage the furniture. So when my house finally sold, 18 grand out of my commission check, my check back to me, my equity, gone right off the top. So anything that you're planning to do with that little nest egg is going to be gone. So that's one thing to consider. The next one is I want to talk about risk management. Right now, especially in whatever the crisis and everything that's going on, it is a great time for you to be able to look at the risk management of your company. Are you properly insured? Call your insurance broker, no matter who it is, and make sure that all your insurance is up to date and you're properly insured for something. Here's another story, true story, California fires last year. Stager, member of RESA. She started out in staging. She got the basic insurance policy that you're starting out, and then never updated her coverage. Fast forward a few years later, she started out with $16,000 or $10,000 worth of furniture, $16,000 worth of coverage, ended up having a $65,000 loss. And she was underinsured because she didn't keep her policy updated as her inventory grew. So you had a major event, totally, burnt the whole town down, and all of her things were in storage and were absolutely destroyed by smoke damage, couldn't be recovered. So she was underinsured. You don't want to be underinsured. So RESA Sure, RESA has worked with Villanova Insurance Partners and their group and attorneys to develop RESA Sure. And that's a risk management program. It's only $95 a year. So on the website, you can click through. But what this does, it's kind of like a prepaid legal, but for stagers, and a lot cheaper because it's only $95 for the entire year.
That is so cheap.
I know it, right? And Joe, the attorney, is going to write a contract for you, or he'll review your contract if you have one. They have subcontractor agreements. There's podcasts. There's articles. There's all types of information about risk management. So I strongly suggest that you guys look into that if you haven't already. If you don't have insurance, man, I wouldn't step foot in anybody's house without it. So that's my insurance spiel.
That's mine too. I don't cross the threshold without insurance and without having covered what the cost of me. And I have used Judy when they were PenX's when I joined them, and now it's switched over. But what I love too, guys, is if you even have to put the date on your calendar, or if it's your renewal date, just to, review it. And I mean, sometimes these policies are this thick and you're like, oh, dear gracious. But having that person that can answer the phone for you, I'm actually working with another girl in Villanova who works for Judy and equally as attentive. And that's important when things are, financially could destroy you. You want to make sure that you've done your due diligence, because honestly, you have nobody to blame. I mean, just ask. And that is so important. I always said in the beginning, when I started this job, I'm not going to lose my house making their house look pretty.
Exactly. Oh my God, it's so good. So she's asking if the client agrees to the SRM policy and they pay the amount to Atusa, who gets the insurance? The stager is going to go to the website. It's all done online. So you just order the policy, but here's the kicker. If you're staging on Friday, don't order the policy the Monday before, because the policy starts the day that you get it. So the night before, if you're staging on a Wednesday, Tuesday night, go in, order the policy online. It prints right out there for you, and you're good to go. It's perfect.
That's a good tip.
All right. So how do you get a wholesale license and buy wholesale, and what does all of that entail? So these, we're going to cover some things really quick because I know we're fudging in on our time right now. So wholesale license, they call it something different in all states. Resale license, reseller's permit, wholesale. What else, Sandra, have you heard?
Those are the main ones, y'all. And it is a matter of taking 2 seconds, going to Google, and whatever state you live in. In fact, I know RESA, I think, has the states, the links for you. But I mean, don't wait, if that's another step too many for you, just go Google, how do I get a resale license in Utah or Washington or wherever it is, and you go fill it out. It takes minutes. Yeah. And I always say for minutes, I made thousands.
Yeah.
So that's
kind of. You can go to your Secretary of State, your Department of Taxation. What's the other one? I always forget the other one. I'll think of it in a minute, and then I'll shout it out at a question that won't have anything to do with it. So just Google it. You'll be able to find it. You're going to get it online. Now, there's tax implications on that. So if you're in a position where you're not buying furniture and reselling it to other people for a markup, then you would have to collect the sales tax on it, because you're not paying, in addition to not paying retail, you're paying wholesale. this requires you to collect the sales tax, or if you're using it for your business like inventory, like most stagers do, then you pay what's called a sales and use tax. And your CPA, your accountant, bookkeeper, they'll be able to keep track of that and figure it out for you. But depending on the state you live in, sometimes you probably pay that quarterly. The other thing on this is the RESA buying group. Sandra mentioned it earlier. Again, it's buying wholesale. It's RESABuyingGroup.com. If you're a RESA member, all you need to do is fill out your information. You have to have your RESA license number and your RESA membership number to sign in. And you sign into that website. It'll tell you all the different vendors that we work with, all the deals that they give us. So for example, if you normally could go in on one of the showrooms on your own, and there's a sofa, and you can walk in and get it for $1,000, just you. If you're part of the RESA buying group, chances are you're going to walk in and that sofa may only be $600 for you. So they give significant discounts past their designer, past their showroom, and on some of them past stocking dealer price. Stocking dealer price is the price that they reserve for the giant furniture stores that order 30 sofas and 10 of this bunk bed or whatever it is. So look into the RESA buying group. There's information on the website. There's more webinars on that as well.
One thing, oops, I lost you.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. One thing I want to say too about taxes, guys, whether you pay tax at point of purchase, which there's no reason for you to do that. If you have a resale license, I don't care if it's TJ Maxx, Home Goods, they can, they've updated their system. They've come a long way too. But somebody needs to pay tax. So either you're paying at point of purchase and you're putting that on your invoice to them, or if you didn't pay tax, you're still charging your client tax, and you will put the tax on what you're selling the item for. So don't get caught in that trap of, oh gosh, I got this tax free, and not put it somewhere. The last thing you want to do is open yourself up for an audit if you did not need one. And I have heard of horror stories with that. So just keep that in mind. Somebody's paying tax.
Yep, absolutely. So here's a question in the chat box. Do you charge more for clients who is asking for staging with a quick turnaround? So here's one of those things where I want to ask you, a quick turnaround. Here's the thing. Are you available? Are you available to do it? I don't know why I would upcharge that if you're already available. If you're not available, then you're not available. So you're kind of just not available. You don't want to bump another client. If I'm misunderstanding the question, repost it and we'll come back to it. Sandra, I know we could probably go ahead.
I don't charge more. I mean, I want to work as much as I can. So I'm going to be available. One thing I do is I don't take any more agents as clients, because I now know how much time is required. And if they get a listing, they are going to want that home staged as quickly as possible so that they can get it on the market, so they can also make money. So I want to be available for my top agents. And guys, get ready to say no in a very tactful way. I mean, one of the largest real estate teams wanted me to be their full-time stager. And so of course I took the meeting. I was just curious too. But this was what really turned me off. First of all, they don't pay what I make. And second of all, they only wanted to stage homes that were over $750,000. And I'm thinking, why would you not want to help all your clients, to the best of your ability? So I thanked them very much. And it was okay to say no. But that's also the same reputation. I always say, don't set a precedent you can't keep. Mm-hmm. If that person that you're, let's say, jacking that price up because, you're doing it on a Saturday or a Sunday, or you're doing it quickly, when they hear that you charge somebody else less, and people talk, guys. So you have your prices. I don't care if it's the, Disney family or it's Susie Q down the street who is, in a bind. It's you. You offer those services and be consistent with your pricing.
Yep, absolutely. Integrity. Okay, we're probably going to answer this the same. I bet we'll say the same thing at the same time with this question. Ready? And just blurt it out. This is fun. We can just do this.
Let's lean forward.
Lean forward, Sandra. What's the best way to hang art on the walls without hammering or drilling or with large holes in the wall? Go monkey hooks.
We call them Hercules hooks,
Hercules
but absolutely. Hercules hooks. But guys, be very cautious when you're using those. What is the weight limit? The ones that I order, they're 150 pounds. The ones you get like at the Dollar Tree or Home Depot, they can be anywhere from 10 to 20. They have weight limits. So you want to make sure you're using the appropriate amount.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good one. For monetary reasons, I'm not able to leave my full-time job to solely do staging. And how do I best position my business to allow for growth?
Okay, I can't tell if you're talking, but listen, guys, I mean, weekends, do you know how impressive it is when you are willing to work, after hours or on the weekend? I mean, we don't want you to lie and say, you do this full time. At the same time, hey, I've got an opening Saturday at 10 o'clock. They're going to go, gosh, she is busy or he is busy. So you have a schedule, and the schedule is when you're available. You don't have to say, like Shell said, you're green or you're still working a job. But we have a lot of students who are planning their retirement, but yet they want to start making a name for themselves on the weekend. So when they do retire, then, they can do this full time. So I think it's a great plan when you think about it. It's just strategically launching your business part-time and full-time.
Yep. And you can also focus on consultations.
Absolutely.
Because they'll lead to other things. Here's a good one. It's a loaded question too. So I'm going to preface this. I'll just read the question.
Keep going. I'm going to make
how to handle a vacant home staging in terms of pricing. So there's the thing. This is my thing on pricing. I break it down super simple, and nobody's going to like the answer. Because here's the thing. The method in which you determine your pricing, it's all relative. In the long run, what it comes down to is that you've charged enough money to, one, cover your costs, and two, enough to be profitable to make it worth it to get out of bed that morning and to go do a particular job. So all of your hard costs plus whatever it is that you need to be able to make a profit. So a lot of people say, well, I want to charge 20% on this rental. I want to charge this. I want to charge that. If it was me doing it, I would be saying, okay, if I had my own inventory, even if it was just my own accessories and decor, let's say I rented the furniture, that's a hard cost. And I'm just going to use round numbers, $500 for the rental, which would be a really good deal, by the way. Well, yeah. $500 for the rental. And then I have a whole warehouse full of all the accessories and decor and the bedding and everything it is that I need. So that's your hard cost. You're moving, or they're going to deliver it for you because you're going to use probably Cord or Aaron's or whoever. They deliver it for you. You've got that hard fee. So that's X dollars. And then your fee, whatever it is, if you know you needed to make $1,000 off the job in order to make it worth it for you, and you've got everything already, then whatever the accessories and decor, you don't need to nickel and dime every single thing and itemize it 20% here to do that. It's my fees, my extra fees, it's $500 for the rental, it's $1,000 for the staging fee, and the decor and everything, it's all part of it. And it's just one big package. So it can be very simple, but some people want to try to do a percentage of the home. Some people want to do the square feet, some do packages. The bottom line and the most important thing, in my opinion, is just to make sure that you're pricing it so you're profitable. The method in which you do it, I don't mess with any of those. What do you think?
I totally agree. And it is really based on your comfort zone. I heard somebody say that they just charge that percentage of what the house is listed at, and they don't really want to talk to clients. They don't necessarily even like people, is what was said. So the thing is, you need to have something in place. We use, it's for lack of a better word, it's an Excel spreadsheet. So as you're walking through, and whether it's occupied or vacant, you can calculate what is needed for that space. And guys, the whole reason that we came up with this, you can calculate what is going to be required time-wise for each room, what's going to be required for merchandise inventory. The whole reason we came up with it is because Carol Bass, she cracks me up. She said, the very first job, I worked for 100 hours. I'm exaggerating, 100 hours, and I got paid for one because because she had miscalculated. So find your system. You know, even if you try out 2 as you're doing the next house, the next job you get, okay, I'm going to take a minute. Yes, it's going to take longer. You're not going to penalize your client by charging them for your learning curve, but see what works best. I mean, I still like to charge by the hour for, you know, most of my decorating clients, because it's my time is my time. I don't charge by the house because, you know, Mary could get chatty Cathy, you know, before we get out of there. And, you know, and again, if I've charged by the job, I have gotten paid 1 hour for the 15 hours I, you know, had to look at, you know, the dog or something. So just find what works for you. Be very consistent. Don't deviate from it, and have your way to get yourself out there. If you, like I said, do some pay it forward things, but that way I will always say, oh, I'm sorry, Mary, this is what I charge per hour. I'll tell a really quick story. I got a call one day from a lady, and I was her 5th person that she had called. And she would ask me questions, and I would hear her do this. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is she typing my answers? So I told her what I charged, and I get that, you know, I'm getting all this, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to work with her. This is weird. But she said, well, you're the most expensive person that I talked to. Mm-hmm. So your answer is, oh gosh, Mary, if it's just a matter of price that you're, you know, interested in, and not, you know, years in the business or track record for selling houses or expertise or certification, then absolutely go use one of them. And, you know, you can just hear the whole thing. And I'm thinking, please don't hire me. Please don't hire me. So it's okay to also not want a job if you have these flags. And of course, she did hire me, and she wanted the consultation for free, of which I said, I'm so sorry. Again, you might please go with one of those other people. So that's why you want to know how you're going to charge, how you're going to propose, you know, get your own mindset about what you're going to need. And it goes back. In fact, Shell, we want to make sure, somebody wrote a question about a staging, the best app. Oh, for e-staging. Okay. Okay. All right. So yeah. So to answer that one and tie that one up in a bow, find out what works for you. Be sure and not forget the things that are not going to be obvious, like, you know, renting the truck, the movers, being there, placement, some of those other things. So just try not to miss anything.
There you go. I'm going to cover this one question, tell a quick story about this question, then we're going to get to the e-design, and then we'll come to a wrap up. So this is a great question, and I'm going to tie it in with a good story. So what's the line that you find yourself using more over and over to convince people to invest in home staging? So here's the thing. Why do you need a line? I know what you're saying. I know what the person's after. They want that go-to, that kind of elevator speech, that type of thing. But why not just be the whole ball of wax? So the way that I look at it is, you just want to be professional. And again, for me, it's passion. You got to have passion for what it is that you're doing. When I say passion, I mean, when you're so excited about a job and you go home and you're talking to your spouse, your loved one, your kids, and their eyeballs roll up back in the head, and they're like, oh my God, you're talking about staging again. If you speak that way to your clients, they're going to feel your energy, and they feel that professionalism, and that goes a long way. Here's the other thing about trying to convince people. I have had a staging business. I used to work for a training company. So I made the transition after I left. I thought, well, of course I'm going to become a home stager. This is going to be great. So I ran a staging business for about 4.5, 5 months before I closed it down, because I soon realized that I can't stand doing the staging work. I don't like it. I don't like moving the furniture around from place to place, but I love the business end of staging. And I couldn't find a business partner that would go out and make the house look amazing. Because my first house, it took me 3 days to stage it, and I bought a kidney bean shaped sofa. So it's like, I'm sitting there thinking, that was a big learning curve. And I thought, okay, this is not my passion. This is not my passion. Everything else is my passion about the business, just not that little bitty one component of it. So I couldn't find a business partner. So I moved fast forward. The industry kind of got together many years ago and said, you know, we need a trade association. Shell, will you start it? I said, for sure. So the industry basically hired me to start a trade association, because I don't own RESA. We're a nonprofit. But as I was doing that, I had just a small little website set up. And I thought, you know what, if somebody called me, I like to do the consultations, the occupied consultations. I'd be all over that. I could do that any day of the week. And I had it up. And of course, I've written articles. I speak at places. If you Google me, I'm all over the place. So what happened was there was this lady in Lodi, California, and she had found me online. This woman really researched me. She had a folder, kid you not, this big, stacked, at least an inch full. I swear to God, Sandra, every article I'd ever been published in, she had it. And she's showing me. But once I got there, she showed me everything. So on the phone, she calls and says, yeah, I'd like a home staging consultation and blah, blah, blah. It was a 40-minute drive for me. And I said, I'm so sorry. Let me pass you on to somebody that's in your neck of the woods. Oh no, I want you. And I'm like, well, that's really out of my area and I'm really booked. And no. You don't understand. I've researched you. I've watched every video, every show you've ever done, every podcast, every talk show, every phone in thing, every piece. No, you don't understand. Michelle, you got to come. I've got this binder. I have to have you. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, well, how much do you charge? And I didn't want the job either. I did not want to get up and go do this job. I felt it was like single white female. I felt a little stalked. I'm not going to lie. It was odd. And so I said, okay, well, it's a $600 consultation fee. And she's like, do you take cash? I was just like,
yes, you do. But in case that's going to be the next question. Yes.
Here's the point. You don't necessarily need to convince people if you can do everything else and make yourself visible. You want to show people from your website that you're a professional, that you speak at places, that you might teach a class, that you offer a workshop, that you've written blog articles. Anytime you're mentioned in a news article, put that down. Get in the news. That's a whole nother webinar. We can teach you how to do that as well. Especially like the morning news, the little talk shows in your area, like Wake Up Sacramento and Good Morning Tennessee or whatever. Those are good shows to be able to get on. Good Morning Chattanooga. So be professional and have your website do that. So you don't have to do so much convincing. You are the ultimate professional. And when you spit out a price, a ridiculous price, like $600, I felt bad taking it, but I was like, you know what? No. You are looking at me for my expertise and my time to be able to come here and to do this for you. And she was wonderful. And she just $600. I'm like, thank you, ma'am. And it is what it is. So what do you think about? Do you have a go-to statement?
I do think you're right. Absolutely. You have to have that enthusiasm first. But I started out, and everybody has said it, and it is still effective because people understand it. Sell your house quicker for more money, more money in the pocket, all those things. I mean, I kind of now just say staging works. You either want it to sell it or you don't, it just works. It works. So, and that's where, you will have backup if you need to say how it works. Yeah. But most of the time, guys, once you get those realtor relationships, they have brought you to the party already. They have already said, I use a certified stager, and I taught them to say that. I use a certified stager. She's amazing. I don't really understand staging. I understand marketing your property, but together we make this awesome team.
Yep.
And then when you get there, now typically the agents are paying for the consultations when they brought you for their listings. But when you get there, don't miss that opportunity to also brag on that agent. Oh my gosh, Mary, I will tell you, it makes such a difference when you have an agent that goes above and beyond to market your home. That's why I really love working with, Susie Q, whatever her name is. So I make sure I thank her to the client, because nothing's better than a compliment that you hadn't asked for or haven't given yourself. It's just, kind of an honest thing. And that's why I like to be there for my agent. So I don't take any client just to take them if I know that I don't have time to give a turnaround for their project in a timely fashion.
There you go. E-design, e-staging.
Okay. It gets such a bad rap. In fact, I just did this huge presentation, and I think my second slide was, a tomato thrown at the screen. I said, nobody throw anything at me when I tell what I think e-staging should look like, e-consultation should be. So first and foremost, it does not take our power away from us. And I am not talking where you virtually go put in fake furniture and make the room look something different than it is. But there is a place and time. And, we are using these words now, pivot and adapt and all that. And I mean, now would be the time for you to think this way. But I want you to also be open to thinking, pivoting and being adaptable, period, in your business. So because I was in Park City and I a lot of times did not have access to, let's say, the homeowner may be 3 states over, but I could walk through the house and do a staging consultation with the home. So now all of a sudden, how am I going to get my message across to this homeowner that we need to do all these things? So I started out with PowerPoint. PowerPoint was what I know. It was easy. I could, pop her cluttery living room in there and say priority 1 is get rid of the toys, the scatter rugs, those would be the priority items. Then I would say B is, or A, whatever it might be, is changing the wall color so that we enhance the selling feature. So by using this virtual consultation and a summary of already have been through the house, it was effective. I could literally then, what was a plus about it is you get to then document what we're doing. If, let's say Mary says, gosh, Sandra, I just can't get rid of, Junior's toys or whatever it might be. Okay, now let's look at this picture. This is what's going on the MLS. And now you have the opportunity with this visual aid, which is her room, and you can't very well dispute it. But then let's say you may suggest, okay, B item, I think we should change the wall sconces. And she'd say, that's not in my budget right now. So now you have lined through that. So you have a documentation of what is agreed upon. And then you have your contract at the end, which they can print out, scan, send it back. So it's just as effective as a live consultation if you approach it that way. It by no means takes away from your expertise. You are going to use the resources that you have available, whether it's Skype, Zoom, whatever it might be, FaceTime, but you're going to walk through that house if you can't get to the house. So I have a client, I have built that relationship, and she moves and I can't get to the house or her anymore. So we can still walk through the home, make that report. You're going to use the same report. I charge the same. I have, some people think, oh, let's cut our prices because of what is going on. And this is by no means taking advantage, but I look at it like my service is still there to help them, but I might go above and beyond somewhere else. Like, let's say we need to pick out the wall color. I will ship her a color deck or zero in on the color samples that I think we need, and I'll have Sherwin-Williams send the 8x11s, and we will hold those in. We'll FaceTime. So those are the kind of things you're going above and beyond in your client's opinion, but you're not, drastically cutting your fees, because in some ways you could be working more, longer and harder. You've got to get a report that is very clear. So, and guys, there's everything from PowerPoint where I say that is just a great indicator of, I'll list, we need a sofa, we need a rug, we need 3 lamps. And, you don't have to go to a great extent. They already trust you because the agent brought you there. If you need to do something like design files, I will shoot Shell a link and she can put that up. I have a page for just e-staging or e-services, I should say. And I have a couple links that are affiliate for us. So you can get something, they all vary a little bit, but I have the good, better, best options, and good is PowerPoint, best is some of the other ones. And then I have a great gal. And if you really want to get into this, you can take some of her classes. Cool. You always got Photoshop, and that's got a learning curve, but your goal is to help them as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Great. So I just posted your email address, and if you would like that information from Sandra, just shoot her an email. She'll be happy to help you. Have you heard of it's a space planning app, Icovia?
Yes. Okay. So in fact, if you go to Icovia and you type in the DSA, instead of it being $29 a month, it is $9.99 a month. So that's kind of the affiliate things that we have. I will tell you, Icovia has changed their platform a little bit. I like Room Sketcher also. Home Styler, even now Wayfair. Now Wayfair's is they still have some glitches. Sorry, Wayfair, but you do. But Wayfair, what's nice when you have the room planner app on the resource, you can say, okay, I'm going to take this sofa with that lamp and literally put it in there. Where they have the glitch is like, let's say you are trying to define this as a game room and you're trying to put the backgammon game on top of the table. That doesn't work out. So so now I'm thinking, okay, you can write that on the side, but it'll also give you your inventory list for the room. There's Ivy. Ivy's a little bit more costly. Guys, the other thing is, if you find one you like, a lot of companies right now are waiving those initial fees to start, or they're waiving them for 3 months. So just, and I'm not sure if Ivy is, but Ivy's one that would be if you're really doing a lot of inventory or vacants where you need that inventory, because then it's like your typical tear sheet kind of thing. So
very good. Okay, so there is going to be a replay of this. We will put that online, and I believe Felicia sends an email out to everybody, but it's going to take a few days because she doesn't work on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I just can't just drive them into the ground as much as I'd like to. I have to let them leave the office at some point or time so they stay sane. That's the end of our hour. Sandra, I always love hanging out with you.
I do, you too. I mean, Chell and I, this is the thing, guys. Find that support group too. And don't be, nervous about reaching out to what you consider your competition. But, having this, working relationship, I mean, we may go a month without talking to each other but hey, what do you think about this? And it's just a great camaraderie to have when somebody understands your business and you can learn from each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't speak more highly about that. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you have not received education, RESA does some studies, some surveys with our members. And what we found out is the majority of people absolutely do get their training prior to starting their staging business. However, that second group of people, they don't get it. They start, they flounder, they suffer. And then eventually they get around to getting training, usually around the 1 year mark. Don't put yourself a year behind the 8 ball. I strongly suggest if you don't have training, because you don't know what you don't know, get training. Go to the RESA website, realestateStagingAssociation.com. Click on the education tab. You'll see home staging training. Read all the training providers. Sandra Race is an amazing training provider. She's with the DSA. I've known her for a very long time. You are just a staple in our industry, an icon for sure. Give everybody your website address where they can find training and connect with you.
Absolutely, guys. It's the Decorating and Staging Academy, or you can shorten it and put the-dsa.com.
There you go.
So we have a lot of online classes. In fact, our certified staging class is online, and watch next week. We're going to offer some discounts for that. Just, we want everybody to get educated. That is the thing. And this is a crazy time. So it is the same class if you were taking it live or online. So everything's there. And guys, I encourage you to sign up. We have a free educational webinar the last Tuesday of the month. In fact, Shell was the guest last Tuesday. I know. So the topics vary. It can be staging, it can be color, it can be business. So, and it, complimentary, free, whatever you want to call it. It's a great way for you to just stay plugged in and learn something.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of people have asked about RESACon as well. Unfortunately, COVID-19, it killed RESACon. So
I know it. I know
it's a deadly disease after all. RESACon live event, dead in the water. We're not having it if you haven't gotten the memo yet. However, I have decided we're going to just do Plan B. And Plan B means we're not going to let COVID-19 kill an amazing event for the industry. So what that means is we're going to go virtual. So all of our speakers, and Sandra is a speaker, we're going to do online. So we're going to do everything virtual. We're going to make it fun. We're going to make it live. And then you can go back for the replays as well. We don't have it all together yet. It's only been, I think, 12 days since we canceled RESACon. So we need a few minutes to kind of revamp and get that all together. We got all most of the speakers agreed to do the virtual event. I think 2 of them declined, and I'm going to be replacing them. And we're going to be talking about COVID-19 and how to recover. So that will be one big piece of our particular event as well. Details will come soon. The Home Staging Industry Awards, however, they are still continuing. The deadline to enter is April 15th. I don't know that we'll be able to move that. If we find we don't have enough registrations to be able to hold the awards, we certainly will. So right now, we don't. However, people do wait to the last minute. However, right this second, your odds of winning.
Guys, there is no excuse for not entering. Even if you think
it's $60 for one category. Every other category is $40. What I will tell you is go on the website. You can see homestagingindustry.awards.com. You reach out to anybody who won an award, especially who won the actual awards, professional stager of the year, vacant stager of the year, all those. You reach out to them, tell them, what is it that happens to you after you win an award? And they're going to go, their business blows up, because when gives you a ton of confidence when you get that award, because your peers voted on this. It's all blind voting. So it's not a personality contest. The same people can't possibly win every year because we have rules that prohibit that. So your chances of winning are super good. To make the top 10 list, that's amazing to be able to say you were one of the top 10 stagers in the nation. That's fantastic for your street cred, which you want to bring to the table, because then you too can try to get out of a consultation and charge $600 for one and get hired anyway, when you have that credibility coming in back of you. So go to the awards site, pick out your award. The last 12 months worth of your work will qualify to get you into that. You do need to have professional photos, because those are the ones that win. But check them out. It's really a good thing to be able to do, because we are going to recover from this crisis. We are going to do it together, and we're going to drive the industry forward. We're going to be better and stronger than ever. We want you to be part of it. So stay tuned, stay safe, and stay healthy. Until next time, happy staging. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.